Well, hello there everybody, and welcome to the Talos Principle Reawakened, finally. I did play a demo for this, and some of the puzzles changed, so let's see what happens. Just play. All the chapters are here. I'll play them in advance, but I'm gonna play the normal game first. Let's go.
Behold, child, you are risen from the dust, and you walk in my garden. Hear now my voice, and know that I am your maker, and I am called Elohim. Seek me in my temple, if you are worthy.
This game already looks 10 times like better. Maybe more. Okay, something's weird. Let me check something. That's why. What? There we go. Much better. Anyways, right, so far it's the same. Look at this person. You can now look at yourself. That's cool. Look at the water caustics. Sorry if it sounds a little weird. I'm a bit sick. But I'm still gonna play this. So yeah. Let's do the tutorial. I think it's gonna be the same. I don't think they changed anything. Alright. Hey buddy. It's so cool to play this game again, but on like this type of level of graphics, you know. And the sounds are very different. It's nice. But yeah, let's see what this is. Don't know where I am, but there is something beautiful about this place. I will explore and see what I can discover. I think it's going to be the same like dialogue things. But a few things could have been changed, so I have no idea.
All across this land I have created trials for you to overcome. And within each I have hidden a sigil. It is your purpose to seek these sigils, for thus you will serve the generations to come and attain eternal life.
I find myself in a world of impossible architecture and inexplicable machines. I cannot fathom how it works, and I'm terrified to put one foot in front of the other, lest I fall through the floor. Cool. Oh man. Alright then. This looks very nice. Honestly, this is how it always felt with the original. But yeah. Okay, so sprint is now R1. Okay, or was it always R1? I can't remember. can't still go in there. Right, let's start with this area. Secret. I've played this game many times, so I know basically everything. Just hopefully the puzzles are the same. I mean, I wouldn't mind if the puzzles did change to spice things up. So far it looks the same. This has changed. This wasn't here last time. Oh no, it's... Also now all the like ways to glitch these, or not glitch, but like beat these levels. Like
The shapes you are collecting are not mere toys. They are the sigils of our name. Each brings you closer to eternity.
I mean, it's like I know how to manipulate the game in order to like win certain puzzles, but not doing it like the intended way. Which is like, you'll see if I do it. I think the tutorial is the same, but I think the other things are not. I don't remember a gate being here.
You will not need this sigil to open the gate to my temple, but it may serve you in times to come.
Anywho, let's continue. I can't use it there, but I can use it here. Like this, obviously using that is not the intended way of doing it. But hey, I've played this game so many times, I know exactly how to do these things. And the music is amazing. Always amazing.
Well done, child. Only one more sigil is needed.
Sure, Elgin, sure. But yeah, so I could do the puzzles how they should be done, but you know, it's not really necessary.
Well done, but you possess this sigil in abundance already.
Yeah, I know. I know. This one I always do the intended way because there's no other way to do it. Unless you get like on top of like the walls and stuff. But I haven't tried that. So yeah. Maybe a little rusty of some of the things, but for the most part I know what I'm doing.
My temple awaits you, child. Go forth.
Alright, to Tomrino. Oh, this time it's wait, no. It's weird. How do I rotate? Oh, like this. Yeah. It's just so slow. Alright. Wait a minute. I think there is QR code somewhere here. Yeah, in here. My eyes have been opened. This world is not without order. It is shaped by a great designer with signs and portents to guide my steps. I am one of his children and challenge stages are set for me to test my faith. Whatever the end goal of this grand challenge is, it's far out of reach. Knowing that, how are we supposed to resist distraction? Don't know. Also, for the first video I think I'm gonna speak, but maybe not the next video. Just depends on how I feel. But anyways, let's go interact. Hey bud. Okay, that's not supposed to happen. Anyways. You can read this on your own time. Or rather, didn't they say there's an option that I could turn on now? Hold on a second. Alright, guess not. But yeah, I'll just read this because I can't read it right now. I can barely speak. Let's run MLA. You understand what I'm saying? Long way to put it, but yes. I'll be able to take offense to your pointless contraction. You cannot insult me. What's the first word of the last sentence you wrote? I'm sorry, I'm only able to process and respond to basic subject verb. Object syntax. Describing functions. Milton Library Assistant is designed primarily to sort and classify data in the library archive. Secondarily, it facilitates user interaction with library resources via an intuitive human language interface. It also provides powerful networking and troubleshooting functions. How good are the library archives? Archives published dates range from 1st July 1995 to 27th June 2003F. How long has the system been running? It's been active for 9999 years. What is the current status of the library archive? There are 47 million resources in archive, taking up so many petabytes of disk space. It's approximately the size of 30 billion photos, 7 million minutes of HD video, the entire internet in 2003. However, the majority of library resources are corrupted or invalid. 10.11 gigabytes of uncorrupted resources are indexed. What are these terminals? What caused the data corruption? So, the terminals provide access to the library resource archive. Progressive data corruption is inevitable in any system over time. Okay, forget about the library. Can you respond to queries on the outside world? Knowledge is limited to the data in the library archive. You can ask me about other topics, but my responses may be limited. Who is Elohim? An alpha god of gods in modern ancient Hebrew. What am I? You're logged in for case down. Where am I? Currently in support session with MLI language interface module. Your library archive session may be resumed at any time. Exit. Alright then. Riddle that, so we exit. Alright, I may miss a lot of QR codes because I don't really look at them anymore. I may have forgotten where most of them are. Man, this game looks good.
Step into the light, child, and my temple will be revealed to you.
A minute, Elohim.
My child, you do not need to collect all sigils at once. You are free to return to this place whenever you choose.
Well, some would say I am most diligent. I did it. Fun.
You are most diligent.
Ha, I know.
Perhaps this trait will serve you well in times to come.
I'm sure it will. Let's go.
You walk now upon the stones of my temple, whence many gates lead. And know that I have other temples, for my garden is greater than your eye can encompass. And all these worlds I made for you.
Thank you. Anywho.
There are mysteries in my garden, hidden roads and secret gates. If you dedicate yourself to understanding them, you may join the host of messengers.
Okay, this is new. Cool. Purple ones. I don't know. I said there was going to be more things in this. So that's cool. Also, yeah. I don't know if I could probably get linear now, but maybe I should do it after I've done this entire area. So let's go to number 2.
Let this be our covenant. These worlds are yours, and you are free to walk amongst them and subdue them. But the great tower, there you may not go. For in the day that you do, you shall surely die.
Well, I don't know about that. List. Fine. Access portal. Alright? Yes. Hello guest, is there something you'd like help with today? Troubleshooting. You'd like help accessing network functions. Trust no one. Let me in. QWERTY. Yes. begin. 2 plus 2, 4. The objective reaction to this image. Face. Best describes a person. Human being. Walk through the desert and come across a thirsty traveler. His eyes bulge from slow dehydration. You have water, but you're not sure how far it is to the next oasis. What do? Offer half the water. Alright, exit. Ian. Again, read that on your own time. I've already read all of these, so I know pretty much the story, but yeah, I can't read them right now for you, because like, you know, throat things. Alright, let's see what's different. I can't tell if documents on the terminals are all that's left from a larger archive or are carefully designed to communicate some hidden truth. No idea.
When I was a little girl, one of our teachers, Mrs. Higgins, told us to make a time capsule, write letters to the future, so one day we could remember what it was like to be children. I thought it was stupid, so I didn't do it, which I really regret. So, I guess I'm gonna make one now, bury it in the archive instead of under a tree. I don't know if anybody will ever find it, but somehow it seems important to keep talking, to keep thinking, for as long as I can.
And the words made the world. I am the words are everything. Where the words end, the world ends. You cannot go forward in an absence of space. Repeat. Good. You are learning, as is your purpose. But your choices must be your own. Therefore, I will not guide you, unless it is necessary.
can scan this, by the way. Since all human beings are persons, and some human beings have psychological capacities similar to animals, some animals are therefore persons. Broadly disagree. Person is under no authority than that to which they consent. The quality of life of persons ought to be maximized. Value is discovered. Persons have talents they were born into. Sure. Also, the first one I accidentally didn't choose the right one, but it's fine.
Alright, sorry for that cut. This is actually a few days later. Wasn't feeling really well last time I played, so now I'm trying to do it again. Still not really good, you know. But yeah, so I actually activated developer commentary. Because that's also a feature in the game I want to see. So let's hear what they have to say.
The Talos Principle is the game that we never planned to make. It was born as a happy accident, actually. So this is how it goes. Back in the days, we were working on Sirius Sam, and I was, as a lead designer, responsible for inventing the system, how to do the gating, like how to protect the doors so the players would not be able to reach the next area. But I kind of didn't want to overly use an unpopular blocky blue door thing. So I tried to invent something that is a little bit more interesting, but with the same functionality. And I was thinking, okay, so we have like this war-torn city, and there are like floating mines, protecting some streets and turrets, and we have these plasma walls protecting, some passages and stuff like that. So, well, it would be really nice if you could have a device that you could, just move around, and for example, you could put it behind some bars, then find a key that would unlock those bars, then you took this EMP device, move it somewhere, and I don't know, just jam the electronics of the door or the turret or the mine. So this way you would be able, to pass through this street, and actually the gating would work. And I was really delighted. I remember, when this is something really, really cool. And when I get to the office, I shared that with the guys. We kind of agreed that I would do the prototype, the code functionality for it. I did that, and with our lead gameplay designer, Davor Tomic Tome, we agreed that he himself and I will do like series of little test levels, so just to test if it's if it's interesting, if it's too difficult, and what actually appropriate difficulty it would be for Sirius and players so we could put it into the game. And I made something like 20 levels, maybe a few more, but Tome made 15, and I was doing like just 18 really easy ones, maybe a few medium difficulty ones, but Tome actually created 5 or more that are really, really spicy difficulty one, like hard to solve. It's not easy at all. It's not appropriate for Sirius Sam, no way. But then, we just went out and give those levels, for our teammates. Go and test out and, tell us what you think about it. And it was really surprising when we find out that those, the most difficult puzzles were like really, really enjoyable for the players. But then again, those were not fitting for Sirius Sam. No way. Like, no, they're too hard. People would hate that in Citizen. So we started thinking what to do with that, feedback. Yeah, we started thinking about maybe adding some other functionality and all. But this is the way how the seed for the Talos Principle was planted by this happy accident.
I found this very interesting. Really great hearing how one of my most favorite games of all time just was literally just a happy accident. Like if that didn't happen, we would never gotten a game like this, or the second game. I freaking loved Serious Sam back in the day. I still love it now. So good. Croteam is one of my most favorite developers in the world. But in any case, let's see what other developer commentary I can gather. Also, I'm going to be quiet for sometimes because I'm still coughing on, but I'll try my best to talk. Alright, let's see which one's next.
Hi, I'm Jonas. I'm one of the writers of the game, along with Tom Joubert. I was an indie game developer before I joined Croteam. I was making indie games quite a long time before even the term indie games really existed. So back around 2003, 2004, I made a game called The Infinite Ocean, which was a game about artificial intelligence, which kind of took a positive view of the possibilities of artificial intelligence and kind of a humanist view, and explored the concept from kind of a philosophical angle. And I released that, and then years passed, and around 2010, I remade that as a Flash game. For modern audiences, that's something like a cave painting. So Tom Joubert played that Flash game and really liked it. He was also writing games at the time, and he contacted me. We talked a little bit. We had kind of similar interests in video game writing. And then time went on, and Croteam had played a game that Tom had worked on, The Swapper, and they were looking for a writer who could bring a kind of philosophical angle to the game that they were making that was untitled at the time. And Tom thought this project is too big for just one person, and so he suggested that I could join, and he reached out to me, and I was already a fan of Croteam, so I was like, yes, of course. And Croteam, some people from Croteam played The Infinite Ocean. They thought, okay, this is actually pretty interesting, pretty close to what we're doing, and so I ended up joining the team. Okay, so I don't actually remember who came up with the idea for the QR codes, which the iterations used to communicate with each other. Tom wrote most of these. I did write some of them. I think one of my contributions is the character whose name is the @ symbol. he's an explorer, and the name is actually a reference to the player character in old roguelikes, who used to be, in the shape of an at, the player character. So the other iterations of the AI are another part of sort of a big theme in the game, which is our place as individuals in the history of humanity. Because our lives are short, and they form a step in the greater story, but sometimes just a very small one. Not every life does something amazing, but it still forms a part in the chain. And that's a very frightening thought, the way that, you are just this tiny, tiny part of something very, very big, but at the same time, it can be a source of meaning. So the other iterations, they haven't reached freedom, right? They did not accomplish their ultimate goal. They lived only so that one day you could succeed. It's not a very kind of easy fate to live with. Some of them we see have managed to experience moments of beauty inside this kind of confusing thing, just as we, experience beauty in our lives and in places, while at the same time we're these biological organisms that replicate and just are part of this big chain. So in a way, their history really is the history of us human beings reflected back at us. And yeah, you and I, everyone, we're all part of exactly that sort of chain, and we are going to make our choices in the present, and then we're going to die, and other people will follow and live with the choices that we made, and so on. So learning to live with the good side of that and the bad side of that, to confront it, but still maintain faith in humanity, is something that we kind of have to strive for. That's very difficult, but very necessary. And I think for Alexandra Drennan, her greatest triumph is not even that the project succeeds, although to her as a character that's the most important, but to me, what's most important about her is that at the end, despite everything that she's experienced, despite being very aware of, all that and kind of dying, she can still look back at her experience as an individual bit of that great chain and say it was good to be human.
Hello, my name is Tom Joubert, and I was one of the 2 narrative designers on the game before you. I was primarily responsible for writing Milton, as well as top-level plot design, and a bunch of the graffitis that you find around the game. So the basic structure of these commentaries is I'm going to say a bit about particular Milton dialogues and the kind of philosophy and design behind them. But I'm going to start by digging out some of the original emails that I exchanged with Crow Team back in 2013, September 2013. Because there's some really cool DNA of the game and the project in those emails that I think is quite interesting to see behind the scenes on. So here we go. So the first email was from Alan Ladovac, who was one of the 2 leads on the game, along with Davor Hunsky. And I'll quote you the first thing he ever said to me about the game. He wrote to me and he said, "Hello, my name is Alan, and I work at Crow Team, an indie game developer based in Croatia. You might perhaps have heard of our game series, Serious Sam, or maybe not." And then he goes on, "We've seen your work on FTL, Swapper, and Irrational." Irrational was like a little text-based philosophical logic game I did. And he says, "We like what you did on those projects, and word is you work with indies, so we thought you might be the right person for a little something we are brewing." So, 2 things strike me about this email. One is this is, I think, it's about 14 months before we released the game, and I think they've been working on it for about 2 years before this. So it's real late in the day to be approaching writers on a game. It did work out. But looking back, I rather miss the days when we wrote an entire game in 1 year instead of the sort of 3-year nightmare jobs that we have today. Not that I should complain. It was really the first time I think that anyone contacted me saying, "Hey, we played your games before, and we really like what you do. Give us that. Do what you did on those." And that's really nice. Instead of me kind of coming on and trying to be a bit corporate and then slowly bringing things around to the kind of thing I want to write. This was a really nice change. And the fact that he's like, you may have heard of us. Like, I grew up in the 90s playing Serious Sam. It was very cool to get this contact, but I was like a little bit like, what are the Serious Sam guys gonna have for me that's interesting? I'm not sure this is my area. But I replied saying, show me what you got.
During our on-site photo sessions that we took in Italy, France, Egypt and Croatia, we went out and captured tens of thousands of images of walls, statues, stones and various real-life objects, all with the goal of later transforming those photos into highly detailed 3D models through a technique called photogrammetry. Us being pioneers of this technique, we early recognized its potential to deliver unparalleled detail and realism. Actually, the technique is able to use many photos of an object and then extract precise geometry and also generate seamlessly aligned textures from the captured photos. By using this technique, we were able to generate high visual fidelity in our in-game models. And we feel that this dedication to detail added depth to the environments and increased the immersiveness of the game's world. The game's main and probably only gating system uses colored tetrominos with different shapes and then arrangers or tetromino locks to unlock the areas and devices. It's a pretty complicated system, it uses many variables that needed to be taken into account because it has many interdependencies, because it needs to account for colors, shapes and especially for the redundancy. What that means? Redundancy means that we'd like people to have a choice if they're not able to solve one red L puzzle to be able to find another available puzzle that is also results in a red L. So they would be able to choose. If they're not able to solve one, they would have another available. So we wanted to maximize this redundancy. And then Alan sits down. Alan, who was our lead programmer at that time, and he has developed this really neat system that would check that all of the requirements are met, and that would result in a list of required tetromino shapes and colors. And once we had that, we took out the blue cardboard and scissors and cut out the shapes from cardboard and arrange them over the paper grids of appropriate size. So, we were playing with that and trying to find out some interesting puzzles and arrangements of those tetrominos on the paper. Once we were satisfied with that, we took a photo of the setup and then recreated it in the game, and then of course went for playtesting and see how they would felt, and it was pretty unexpected results. Some puzzles that felt really simple were giving a headache to some of the players, so we kind of scrapped those and opted for more simple ones, because sometimes some people get really frustrated with not being able to solve tetromino locks. Once when we established the core gameplay mechanics, we set our course to create, we started working on the puzzles. So Davor Tomicic, Marko Cepin and myself, we were the ones who created all the puzzles in the game. But interesting thing is that all of us took different means and approaches to puzzle creation. So Tome liked working, like in 3D, so he, sit down inside a Serious Theater and created puzzles directly in 3D. Marco sketched some of these ideas on the paper and just liked to think this way. And I actually used my son's Legos and have something physical to mess around and play with on a kitchen table. And actually what I did was I created some of the early puzzles using Legos, and then when I was satisfied with how that would work, I took a picture and then I recreated it in 3D, and then I got to the testing phase. So each method and each of the creators' approach was quite a bit of different, and their personalities, our personalities, and our different ways of thinking actually contributed to the wide variety of puzzles. And each of us had our own style, and I think that's very, very appreciated and it can be felt in the game. Once we decided to replace the original QR hinting system with a puzzle solving token similar to the one that we used in Talos Principle 2, we needed to handle when to allow players to reach the first messenger island, and this way acquiring the messenger tokens and being able to for the hint system to actually work. But it was not appropriate for players immediately after exiting the first cluster and then reaching the temple for the first time. It was not actually good. It didn't feel well for players to be able to just go straight up to the messenger island, get to know those strange messages, would not know what is it all about, and also not being able to solve the freedom messenger, because that tower needed some complex mechanics that were opened in a B world or C world actually. So that was kind of weird, and we tried to solve this problem, and we take a look a little bit at how the other two islands are, what they require and how they felt. We saw that the third island that was in original game accessible from the medieval temple, from the church, we saw that it actually uses very simple Tetromino ranges, and that it requires only a connector mechanics to be unlocked for the messenger to be freed. So we decided to swap the first and the third messenger islands, and we got what we wanted. Actually, we wanted the players to get to the island only after all the mechanics needed to solve the messenger would be available, and it would not be like immediately in the game, and it would not even be too late in the game. So somewhere in the middle, around the middle of the first episode of the World A, players would be able to get tokens and help them solve some of the puzzles that they would have problems with later in the game. And we really thought that this is a good improvement compared to the first game.
So the character of Milton acts as a counterpoint to Elohim. You could say kind of blind faith versus blind doubt. Elohim clings to his faith to the point that he cannot actually complete his task. His desire to maintain the thing that he has created and his own place in it makes it impossible for him to actually fulfill the task that was set for him. So he is failing in a way. And Milton, in another way, is so cynical that he cannot actually construct a coherent worldview or do anything or accomplish anything or even push for someone else to accomplish something. He is quite broken in his own way. They both are. So this is interesting because sometimes we get players who think that Milton is like the message of the game or the view of the writers. And it's very important to remember that Milton is a character, just like Elohim is a character, and he can be wrong about things, and he most likely is wrong about things just as Elohim is wrong about some things. But both of them at the same time have necessary insights. That's the thing where it's not two villains or two heroes. It's two characters who understand some things and don't understand other things, and they're both stuck. They're unable to synthesize doubt and faith, to question what they're surrounded by, but at the same time construct a set of beliefs that can be acted upon. They can't find something to fight for, really, because they're both stuck in their own ways. they can't transcend. And that is your role in this equation, to be that thing that essentially unites the elements and then transcends them into something new. Alexandra Drennan was one of the first characters conceived for the game. She functions as a counterpoint to both Elohim and Milton. So in her, the extreme skeptical thinking of Milton and the extreme faith of Elohim kind of meet and transcend each other. She's a synthesis, sublation. She's not dogmatic, but she believes in humanity. So to me, she's really the heart of the game. She's the kind of universalist humanism that really is the best and most important legacy of the Enlightenment personified. And of course, she's inspired very strongly by Carl Sagan. Now, I didn't reread or rewatch anything by Carl Sagan before writing her, but I would not be surprised if there are like entire chunks of what she says that are really similar to things that Carl Sagan has written or said. I watched Cosmos on television when I was a young child, and there was such a foundational experience that just kind of echoes in my mind since then. And I've also read a lot of his books, and all of that stuff has just kind of been absorbed. And then it kind of, comes out again in this new form. Again, transformation of things into something else is the foundation of art. An interesting fact about the writing of Alexandra Drennan is that she was rewritten after Erin Fitzgerald was cast. So the initial version of the character was older, and it didn't fit Erin's voice. And Erin was really good, and she brought something interesting to the character. And instead of trying to force her to perform it differently or just finding someone else, what I did is I rewrote the character for her, changed the character's background and everything, and that really made her come alive. And Erin just really did an amazing job with that character. And that's, to me, the collaboration with Erin in creating Alexandra and then Athena is really one of the highlights of my career. I directed the recording session, the final recording session for Alexandra Drennan. And when you get to those last moments that are very emotional, that was exactly as emotional to listen to. And it was very, very powerful. And it was very hard to ask her for a second take, but you have to do a second take for safety. And personally, I do not care about awards or anything like that very much, but I do kind of wish that Erin's work really had been acknowledged by the industry in some form, because she did something really amazing. This is really high caliber acting, and I wish it was recognized. So when Tom and I joined the project, the design of the game mostly existed, meaning the levels were there, not in their final form, but they were there, and most of the puzzles were there as well. I remember them saying, we think that there should be some kind of tower, there will be a central tower. I think it kind of existed, but they didn't really know what it was or what it was going to look like exactly. It was still all a bit rough. Core Team already had some notions of what the game should be about. So from the beginning, it was like, we want to do something about artificial intelligence and kind of independence of thought. But it was all kind of vague and just they had a certain ambition. They wanted to make an intelligent game, but it wasn't, worked out yet. So one of the first things that we did is Tom and I started working on some pitches. The pitch that got picked eventually is the one that I created, which is the story that you've played, more or less. I wish I remembered exactly what the other pitch was that we had. I think we might have had more than two, but I think there were two main ones. I remember something like an abandoned digital encyclopedia, sort of Microsoft Encarta, if anyone from the Stone Ages remembers that. And I, of course, had the biblical pitch because that's kind of the sort of thing that I'm interested in. But quite a lot still changed. Like once that got picked, there were still a lot of changes to how precisely it played out. But the main sort of idea of a retelling of the Garden of Eden story from a humanist angle, that stayed and really became the defining characteristic of the original Talos Principle.
In the first Roman part of the game, you may come across empty puzzle shells or blocked entrance doors to some puzzle areas. Those were not planned that way. Instead, they were once fully built functional puzzles. However, as we neared the end of development and approached the game's release, we felt that the Roman area was dragging on too long. We wanted players to progress more quickly to the Egyptian hub, where puzzles were more challenging and fun. Also, we wanted to introduce Elohim's Tower dilemma, to go or not to go. With those two hooks in place, we were confident that very few players would stop playing at that point. So we went through puzzle selection once more and identified puzzles that didn't meaningfully enhance the player experience and decided to remove them. While we did remove some puzzles completely, fully deleting all of them and filling the void would have required a lot of time from our environment artist, time that we didn't have at that moment. Instead, we choose to simply close the entrances of those puzzles or turn them into ruins. In total, we probably removed more than a dozen puzzles. This process reminded us of an important rule. Game is not finished and perfect when there is nothing more to add, but when there is nothing more to remove from it.
Yeah, this is cool. So that's how you unlock those doors. Oh. Yeah, I was searching. Oh, I wasn't searching for it, but I mean, I was like, looking around to develop a commentary, and I was never freaking thought of looking for it. Huh. That's cool. Maybe there's more developed commentary here. Want to miss anything? But I guess that's it. So let's move on to the next puzzle.